Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle something that sends a shiver down the spine of pretty much any business owner, the GST notice. My whole goal here is to help you swap that feeling of fear for a clear, confident plan. We're going to walk through exactly how to handle one of these step by step.
So picture this. You're just going through your emails and boom, there it is. The subject line, Notice under GST Act. You know that feeling, right? Your heart just drops. Your mind starts racing. What did I do wrong? Is this going to be some huge penalty? It's a moment of just pure panic for so many of us.
But hang on, before you go down that rabbit hole, here's the very first thing I need you to burn into your brain. A GST notice is almost always just a request for clarification. It's not an accusation. Seriously, think of it like the system is just raising its hand and saying, hey, could you just explain this one little thing to me? It's a totally normal, manageable part of doing business today.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Our first section is all about the notice itself and why the #1 absolute golden rule is don't panic. Just understanding what you're actually looking at is the most critical first step to getting back in control of the situation.
Now you might be thinking, oh, this is probably just for the big guys, right? Nope, not at all. It doesn't matter if you're a freelancer working from your kitchen table, a brand new startup, a small local shop, or a medium-sized company that's been growing. A GST notice can land in anyone's inbox. It's a routine part of the system, and really, your business's size has absolutely nothing to do with it.
So that naturally leads to the big question, right? If it's not personal, then why me? Why did I get this? Let's try to park that emotional reaction for a second and just look at the simple, logical reasons these things get sent out in the first place. Here's the simplest, cleanest definition you'll ever need. A GST notice is a data-driven, system-generated request. That's it. It's an automated message asking for a bit more info or some clarification on your tax filings. The key words there are data-driven and system-generated. It's not a tax officer personally picking your name out of a hat. It's just an algorithm doing its job.
And you know what's funny? Look at what actually triggers these things. It's usually something pretty mundane. We're talking about simple stuff, like a data mismatch between your sales return and your summary return. Filing a little bit late. Maybe you had a fantastic sales month, and it created an unusual transaction pattern. Or the big one, a little discrepancy in your input tax credit. See? These are just flags raised by a computer, not some big accusation of wrongdoing.
All right, let's move on to probably the most important part of this whole thing, your first 48 hours. I like to call this the golden window. Seriously, how you behave in these first 2 days pretty much sets the tone for everything that follows. 48 hours. Now listen, this is not a deadline to fix everything. That's not the point. This is your window for a calm, controlled assessment. It's all about taking a breath, figuring out what's being asked, and planning your next move, not rushing into some panicked fix.
And this right here perfectly shows that shift in mindset. In those first 48 hours, what do you not do? You don't fire off a frantic reply with some vague explanation. You don't rush to pay a demand you don't even understand yet. And the absolute worst thing you can do is ignore it. So what do you do instead? You read it carefully, word for word. You find the deadline and you write it down. And you start calmly pulling together the records you'll need. It's all about being methodical, not reactive.
Okay, so you've navigated those first 48 hours. Your head is clear. Now what? Let's get into the real nuts and bolts. A step-by-step response. This is your practical, totally manageable action plan.
Let's just walk through this. Step 1, read and identify. What specific issue are they raising? What's the tax period? Get the details. Step 2, reconcile your data. This is where you pull up your returns, your books, your ITC records, and see how they line up. 3, find the root cause. Was it just a typo? A vendor messed up? Pinpoint exactly what happened. Once you know, you can draft a clear point-by-point reply and attach your supporting documents. Now, if you did find a genuine mistake, step 5 is to correct it in your returns and comply. And finally, and this is important, track it to closure. Don't just send the reply and assume you're done. Check the portal to make sure the case is officially closed.
Responding to a notice is one skill. Do you know what's an even better one? Avoiding them in the first place. This brings us to a more proactive mindset, how to stay scrutiny ready.
This right here, this is so important. I really want this to sink in. Most of the time, things escalate because of how a notice is handled, not because of the original little mistake. Things like late replies, really vague answers, or sending back numbers that don't add up. That's what turns a simple query into a real headache. Your response is often way more important than the initial issue.
So, how do you build a business that's always prepared? Well, it really just comes down to good habits.
Make reconciling your data a regular thing. Do it monthly, not just at the end of the year. Keep an eye on your vendors to make sure they're compliant, because believe me, their mistakes can flag your account. This one's obvious, but file everything on time. And finally, just keep your documents clean and organized. Honestly, this isn't just for the tax man, it's just good business hygiene that always pays off.
And that really brings us to the main takeaway from all of this. A GST notice is simply a compliance checkpoint. It's a normal part of a modern digital tax system. It is not a threat to your business, and you shouldn't see it that way. It's just a little nudge to double-check your data and communicate clearly.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When that next email from the GST department eventually shows up, and it probably will, is your business built to clarify, or is it built to panic? The systems you put in place to make that choice, well, that's entirely up to you.